Hello and welcome back to my series of videos about the dog eye core rules. We are in the core mechanics core rules chapter, still the second chapter, and I just explained in the last video the skill checks and how they work. And I forgot to mention something. When you're making a skill test with a modifier and the modifier makes your attribute value go below 1, so your attribute value is 0 or lower, you automatically fail and you have no chance to succeed in this test. You even can't roll 2 times a 1 for critical success or success at all. You'll simply fail in that case. That is one thing I did not mention in the last video. Yeah, else I think I have explained now everything. So this video will be about what kind of tests are there, and maybe it's not that long. I think we will see if I also include the part about base values or fate points. So what types of tests are there? The simple test I explained, it's called a Volksprobe, which means success test. You simply roll the test, you look at how many skill points you have left, and this tells you if you succeeded and how well you succeeded. That is the basic test. Another test is in Vergleichsprobe, which means comparison test. You simply compare your test result with that of someone else. For example, you try to sneak past the guard. You make a deception test or a hiding test or a sneak test, and you compare your quality level in the sneak test with the quality level of a perception test of the guard, and then you have to have a higher quality level, and then you get past the guard unnoticed. And yeah, that is a comparison test. And another test is a Sammelprobe. That is a sum up test. It's usually used when you, for example, it is often used when you are crafting something. Crafting is it takes longer. You might work on something for a week or for a whole day, several hours, and then you would have to make several tests to decide if you succeed in crafting whatever you have. And the crafting in this sum up test works. You make several tests, you sum up all the quality levels, and the rule is to get a partial success in that test, you have to sum up 6 quality levels. And to get a full success in this sum up test, you have to sum up 10 quality levels or more. And you cannot roll as many tests if you want. How many tests you have to get 6 or 10 quality levels in sum depends on how difficult it is what you're doing. That's this chart here. If you have a difficult test, something difficult to craft, for example, then you would get only 5 skill tests to get 6 or 10 quality levels. If you're doing something of average difficulty, then you have 7 tests you can make to get the 6 or 10 quality levels. And if it is pretty easy, you have 10 tests you can make to sum up the quality levels. And for every test, there is usually given a time it takes to make the test. For example, you can make 7 tests for an average test, and every test takes you an hour of working. And there are more rules to this. For example, if you fail one test, it doesn't mean you completely failed in everything, it just makes the next test more difficult. It gets you a modifier of -1, so your next test, every attribute is reduced by 1. Else, if you fail a test, you simply don't get a quality level to add up. If you have a critical success, then in a test, then you get double the quality level. And if you make a critical failure, then you basically destroyed what you have done, and you have to start anew, which means you still have only the tests that are left. So if you make 10 tests, you fail in the 5th, then all your quality levels get reduced, your summed up gets reduced to 0, and you still have only 5 tests to get your 6 or 10 quality levels. That's on a critical failure. And yeah, these are the rules for such a sum up test. Next type of test is a group test. This is when people or characters, NSCs, add their quality levels together. When this can be applied is totally dependent on situation, and the game master has to decide this. It doesn't make always sense for every test, only for specific ones. For example, if you try to keep a door shut and people pushing from both sides, then a sum up test would make totally sense. There is a talent for strength tests, and all the people pushing on one side would add up their quality levels, and the people on the other side would add up their quality levels, and then you could see who is the stronger one and how much the door would open, or if it opens partly or completely, and who pushes who, or if the door is kept shut. This would make totally sense. What would not make totally sense is a group test when you're trying to sneak past the guard. Yeah, it makes no sense to add up all your sneaking results and compare it to the one test the guard makes, or several guards make, to try to spot you. And there are also variations of these tests you can make that is explained in these optional rules. For example, sometimes the game master can decide, yeah, you have to make a sum up test, but you're not making tests on all the same talents. For example, you're crafting something, you're making a sword or something, and there are wooden parts in it. So you will make, for the metal parts, you would make 4 or 5 smithing tests, and then you would make a woodworking test for 2 or 3 if there is metal and wood in it. This is up to this is the optional rule, and you can use that if you want, if the game master decides and everybody in your gaming group is okay with this. What else is there to say? Yeah, that's it. And I think also that's it for the different kinds of tests. The next part is about the base values. This is it just explains what base values are there and how they are used, what they are meant. I explain them in detail. The first one is your Lebensenergie, which means life energy, literally translated. It's hit points. Hit points, simply, you have an amount of hit points. If you lose all of them, you die, and you lose them by taking damage, or being sick, or being poisoned, or something. And you can use healing and potions and magic and liturgies to regain your health. Yeah, I think this is a well-known concept. The next 2 base values are energies: Astral Energy, and Karma Energy. They're basically used for casting spells. Every spell or every liturgy will cost points to cast. If you're out of points, then you can't cast the spell. As long as you can cast, as you have points, you can cast the same spell over and over again. You regenerate Astral Energy and Karma Energy pretty much like hit points. You can take potions to get them back. You can sleep and rest, and yeah, you can't really use healing to get them back. But there is also a way to meditate and transform hit points into energy. Yeah. So next two base values are resistance values. There's soul power. That's a literal translation. That is basically resistance against influence of the mind by spells. Not only anything that would influence your will, basically. That is mostly spells, but it says here also it can be like a mind influencing a drug or a poison or sickness or something, illness. And yeah, how does this work? It's pretty simple. It is like goes between the resistance is, for example, between -5 and 5. It is based on your attribute values. There is no really fixed what it can be, and you apply this to a test. For example, if someone tries to cast a mind control spell on you, he will get your resistance as a modifier on the test, plus all the modifiers he gets anyway on the test because he makes modifications or because he is hurt or something. Next base value is down here is dodge. Dodge is simply a skill that is, I think, between 4 and 10 or something, and you make a test to dodge something. You can do this in combat. Next base value is initiative. Initiative is, I don't know, something around 10 plus minus 5 or something. And you don't make tests on initiative, you just roll a d6, add your initiative, and this will tell you in combat how fast you are. The one with the higher initiative is the one who acts first, or acts before the one with the low initiative. Speed. Speed is something most humanoids have a speed of 8, I think. It can be modified by special abilities or something, but 8 is the normal speed, and the German rules say 8 means if you're running really fast, you run 8 meters per second. Or this has been the rule. I'm not quite sure how they interpret. And there's a rule that says you can move so many times your speed in a combat round. Maybe half your speed or something like that. And the last base value is fate points. Fate points you can spend on very different abilities and special effects. You can re-roll dice, you can make more damage, you can survive certain situations. Everybody has a base of 3 fate points. You get 3 fate points back pretty regularly. Every time you meet to play, you get one back. Every chapter in the adventure, you get one back. After, get one fate point back. You might get fate points back when you do something fantastically great and are very heroic. You get all your fate points back when basically when you get experience points when the adventure is over. And fate points will be explained in the next chapter here, not in the next chapter, but in the next paragraphs. But I will make a cut here and make another video about the core mechanics where I explain the fate points, and then there is left the states. I don't know how to translate this properly. You probably should look that up. Yeah, this might fit into one video. We'll see. So that's it for now for the core mechanics of the base values and the different kinds of tests. Again, if you have questions, then ask in the comments, send me a message. If you think something is wrong, I explained something wrongly, then comment, send me a message. And I don't mind if someone else answers a question, because I only have limited time. I don't know if I can always answer the questions. So that's it for now. Thank you for your attention, and goodbye.